Hi, I'm John McLaren. Welcome to the Ghastly Historian. Today we're going to talk about the curious case of Nellie Vaughn.
The Plain Meeting House was built in 1825. It is one of the earliest church structures of its type still standing in western Rhode Island. The land where the cemetery stands was purchased by Allen Tellincast in 1823, and in 1876 a cemetery plat map was recorded with the town clerk. Some of the town's oldest families and war veterans are buried here. Over the past few decades, the curious case of Nellie Vaughn of West Greenwich, Rhode Island, has been a hotly debated matter among anthropologists, historians, paranormal investigators, and legend trippers. The lore that has taken root has led to three distinct theories. The first is that Nellie was a victim of the New England vampire panic. The second is that she was not part of the panic, but instead removed from her final resting place on the family farm to the local public cemetery. The third is that she is a restless spirit that wanders the Plain Meeting House Cemetery, hoping to clear her name of the vampire accusation leveled upon her, her unearthly specter telling visitors, "I am perfectly pleasant." The crux of the Nellie Vaughn legend is a case of mistaken identity between two young women who passed away in South County in the 1890s. The case further sprouted wings as it fascinated the local young adult community around the 1960s and 70s, with her tombstone engraved with the epitaph, "I am waiting and watching for you." Anthropologist Michael E. Bell, author of the book Food for the Dead on the Trail of New England's Vampires, bolsters this idea, stating that the possible advent of the legend began sometime in the late 1960s or early 1970s. A teacher at Coventry High School told his or her students about a vampire, probably Mercy Brown. The problematic legend was exacerbated even more when local papers printed stories that bent the truth to color the narrative. The Providence Journal posted slightly sensational articles regarding a vampire in West Greenwich, confirming that locals consistently confused Mercy Brown and Nellie Vaughn. Unfortunately, the legend in local papers caused further issues, with graves being dug up, tombstones in the property vandalized, and Vaughn's stone eventually removed. The real-life story of Nellie Vaughn of West Greenwich, Rhode Island, is much less fantastic than the folklore surrounding her name. Ellen Nellie L. Vaughn was born on June 7, 1870, to George B. and Ellen Knight Vaughn. According to United States federal census records, she would grow up with two older half-sisters, Clara and Georgiana, an older half-brother, John, and a cousin named Ann Jeanette Franklin. As many writers have noted, George was a farmer. This is his listed occupation on the 1860, 1880, and 1900 United States federal census records. However, on the 1870 federal census, his listed occupation was a blacksmith. The publication Historic and Architectural Resources of West Greenwich, Rhode Island, a preliminary report created by the Rhode Island Historical Preservation Commission in 1978, describes the family home along with a mill owned and operated by George as George B. Vaughn House, circa 1850, a 1.5-story, 5-bay Greek Revival dwelling with a gable roof, center chimney, and two later period double-shed dormers. An example of the full-blown Greek Revival, its detailing survives intact with paneled pilastered cornerboards, a plank cornice, and a handsome central doorway with sidelights. George B. Vaughn ran a mill near Newsneck Hill in the late 19th century, turning bobbins and sawing shingles. Further research of vital records indicates that the house still stands today and was kept within the Vaughn family up until the early 20th century when it was sold by Nellie's half-brother John. This map, also included in the preliminary report provided by the Rhode Island Historical Preservation Commission, shows the distance between the family home and the Plain Meeting House Cemetery where Nellie is buried. Ellen Nellie L. Vaughn's death certificate states that she succumbed to pneumonia at age 18 on March 31, 1889. Records show that permission was granted on October 26, 1889, to exhume and reinter her remains at the Plain Meeting House Cemetery, where she still rests today. The curious case of West Greenwich's Nellie Vaughn exemplifies oral tradition's power in shaping tales and the longevity they possess, even if they are less than factual.